Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. Live, baby! Oops, there's a hair on my thing. Coming to you live. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, please go ahead and leave a 5-star review. I very much appreciate all the reviews that you guys have left so far. Quick shout out to a couple of my dates. I'm going to be in Bethel, PA this Friday, June 18th at the Garrett Amphitheater. Comedians of the Compound. That'll be super fun. And then I got some dates coming up on the Jersey Shore this summer. Uncle Vinny's on July 17th. Jinx right on the boardwalk there at Point Pleasant Beach, July 20th. Going to be in New Orleans, August 18th, August 13th and 14th. Vegas, September 10th and 11th, and back at Hyenas in Dallas, September 17th and 18th. I know the Dallas tickets are available on my website, but just stay tuned. I will post them as they become available. Quick shout out to the sponsor. You know them. You love them. It's Cushy Dreams. They're my go-to for all things CBD related. They specialize in extraordinary CBD-rich hemp flower, also known as bud, in cans and pre-roll CBD joints. I love the joints. I particularly like this 5-pack. It's very chic. It fits into a pocket or a purse, and it's not child-proof because I can open it. And they're these really like gorgeously wrapped, hand-wrapped, never machine-trimmed joints inside. I like them. They look, feel, smell just like regular marijuana, but they're not going to get you high. There's under 0.3% THC in all these products, so you can enjoy all the health benefits of CBD without getting high. It's cannabis that ships directly to you, and it's legal in all 50 states. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. You can check out their lab results for all their testing for compliance and purity on their website, cushydreams.com, Kushy dreams.com. Each batch is slow cured for 2 to 4 weeks to guarantee maximum freshness and preserve flavor and cannabinoids. And best of all, it's grown right here in the USA. So go to cushydreams.com right now. Get yourself some high quality CBD bud. At the checkout, use promo code CMP to get 20% off. And relax. Oh, they have different, I forgot to mention, they have different indica sativa blends, like energy, hustle, relax, create, dream. So whatever you want to do with your day, Cushy Dreams has your back and your front probably as well. Yeah, this is very exciting. We're doing this live. Mixing it up, doing a live CMP. Very excited to have this comedian on the show today. Known him and loved him for years. You can watch him on Louder with Crowder. He's going to tell us which days. I don't remember. The wonderful and talented Detroit's own Dave Landau.
Hello, how are you?
Yay! Good to see you, Dave.
Good to see you.
I'm going to switch us because you are, I'm going to make you over there. That way, right. There's a chat that flows up. And I want the chat to be in my face, not covering your beautiful face.
There you go.
Yeah. So how is Texas? How are you liking it there? How are you adjusting?
I do like it. It's definitely better than New York after living there for 3 years. I don't know if it's still as bad as when I left. But, you know, there's less people shitting on the sidewalks and that sort of thing.
It's definitely still pretty bad. I definitely have walked in on way more people mixing up and doing heroin than I have like in the past 10, 11 years of like living in and around the city. So it's bad, Dave. Like that's why like when you left, I was like, I totally get it. Like I feel like Michael Malice feels in that it's going to take like 20 years for the city to be fully like back and profitable. Like, yes, people are back. Sure, there are more people like walking around, but I'm not encouraged by just simply seeing more bodies in the streets. Not bodies. I mean, they're walking around. They're alive.
There are bodies.
There are bodies too.
Yeah, I remember there was a dead guy right by Madison Square Garden, and I went and told the cop. Dead, yeah. And I went and told the cop they were putting another guy in a stretcher. And I'm like, hey, there's a dead guy like right over there. And he's like, we're trying to deal with this one. Then we'll get there. I'm like, all right, sorry. I didn't mean to bother you. Yeah, actually dead, middle of the day, people just stepping over them. It was, yeah, I don't know. After 3 years of that place, it was a lot. And I was in Harlem, which was getting worse by the second. Like
What
when
part of Harlem?
I was over on 135th, not far from like Malcolm X.
Okay. All right.
So
Yes, I've by accident gone to there.
yeah, it was somewhat gentrified. I guess when I moved in, I don't really know, but then people were getting stabbed in the park, and there was always a new candlelight vigil and police tape every time I walked outside. It was getting really exciting.
Yeah, you're like, we're starting to run out of candles here.
Yeah, it just sucks because it was, I don't know. I did love New York. I really did. But yeah, I don't know. Just time to go.
What do you miss?
I miss the show. I miss
Yeah.
doing Anthony's show. That's probably what I miss the most. And I miss doing Gotham. I miss doing The Cellar. I miss a couple. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I miss from that city. I really miss like the fact there's amazing concerts you could go to, pre-COVID anytime you wanted. I'd just be walking by Madison Square Garden, like, oh, Clapton's playing tonight. I'll just go watch it.
Well,
Like it's
yeah.
amazing.
Well, now it might be. I know with Madison Square Garden, I think you have to be vaccinated to watch any concerts there. But yeah, I know what you mean. But isn't there a ton of? Are you in Austin, like properly Austin, or
I'm
I'm not
not.
trying to dox you, but like, isn't there
No,
a lot of live music in Austin?
there's a ton, yeah. Yeah, I'm not too far from it. I can't technically say where, but yeah, I'm not too far from Austin. Yeah, there's tons of great music, and it's Texas, so it's that once I got here, it was the lax. It was just very lax with all the restrictions, everything we've been dealing with, masks, all that stuff. I mean, I've been flying for the last year and a half, or however long this has been, so it hasn't bothered me. But it is way more calm here than it is in New York, L.A. I can't imagine anywhere else. Seattle, Texas is kind of nice.
Texas is dope. I learned of Texas's dopeness firsthand back in February when they had the blackouts. I was in Dallas and there nobody had a shovel, nobody had a plow, and
Oh,
it
were
was
you there for the snow?
yeah, I was there. I flew in, might have been like Valentine's Day. Yeah, it was like February 14th, and it was like right the snow had hit like that day, or like, and it was worse going into the night. And then I got there early to like do some Blaze shows, and then stayed through the weekend obviously for the shows at Hyenas. And I was really amazed. I was like, oh, this is Texas grit right here. Nobody owns a shovel. Everyone, the way that like people in Dallas shovel, they just keep driving until a path forms, and that's how they shovel.
Yeah, they put down sand occasionally. That's all that they
Yeah.
do. And that, yeah, there were just roofs collapsed everywhere, just like ice going through people's. It was really bad, actually. I felt really bad for a lot of people.
Yeah, we were at a Raising Cane's. My friend Elijah took me there. He's like, "You gotta go. This chicken's really good." And we're like, "All
It
right,
is.
let's see if it's worth the hype," which it is. But
It
I
is worth the
saw
hype.
a whole truck of Mexicans get out of their truck, flip their landscaping tools upside down, and they were pushing the snow like off the sidewalk and off the drive-through. I was like, "This is great. I love Texas."
Oh, I
So
had that when I brought my car here, and I just had a snow scraper, and people will actually ask me like, "What the hell is that?" Almost like mad and confused. And I'm like, "It's a snow scraper. It scrapes the ice off your car." They're like, I've never seen that." Of course, okay. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not common here. They're terrified of it.
yeah, for sure. It's like it's a whole different world, but it's nice. I enjoy visiting there. I have yeah. Now with so many people from New York moving there, it's like you can't help but think like, oh, what would it be like if I moved down there? I mean, I feel like lots of people are thinking it. It's either like Texas or Florida for so many people who aren't like
Yeah, but
tied.
I mean, we're living in a time where you don't need the coasts and you don't need people's permission to do things, and it's all becoming something new and different, and none of us really know what's going on. There's no reason to technically. I mean, that's why I left New York, is because Anthony's going to South Carolina. He wanted to, so that's him also leaving the place where he grew up. It's just not. You don't have to be anywhere anymore, which is a really, really nice thing as a comic, especially when your audience is, of the other 48 states outside of the coasts.
Yeah. And like you're one of the comics that did you were always this way, but I'm sure it was made really apparent to you like during the last year and a half with the lockdowns and stuff. It's like, yeah, you haven't spent your whole comedy career being like only about New York and LA. And it was so ironic to me to see like, well, yeah, now the only places comics can perform mostly over the last year were in the states between New York and LA. It was what they would call the flyover states, like the certain woke comics are the ones that talk down to any state that's not New York or California. It's like, well,
the
yeah,
ones that don't make a living. Yeah.
yes,
very common.
Precisely. Yeah. So, I mean, I know that, yeah, you said you missed the show. You for sure are missed. I think every week I see comments and tweets about people missing you on the show for sure. So
yeah, it's a nice thing. Some of them are very nice.
Some
of them are not, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, it like I put myself in your shoes like when it was happening. I was like, yeah, I mean, I can totally understand, especially with him moving. Like I imagine you probably knew that he was moving before he announced it to the general public.
No, I didn't. I was on the show
when he mentioned it.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, that's Anthony. Anthony's not. I don't know. Anthony's not somebody who is this. I don't know. He's just not. He's not an emotional guy. He's very much just who he is, and that's kind of how he operates. So I'm not surprised he didn't call me and say like I'm moving to South Carolina. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I found out, and I don't know. I really was debating it though for a while because it sounds fun. I just don't see my future there, especially when so much is happening in Texas and other places.
Right, because it's not just you. It's like you have a wife and I think at least a kid.
A kid, yeah.
An offspring. So did they, I'm sure like they were a big part of the decision too. It's like, where do you guys, want to move?
Yeah, I could, I brought my son to New York a couple times and I just, after a certain point where we're walking around and he's like, why is everybody napping? He's like 3 years old. There's just,
like they're so tired.
Yeah, it's like everybody's just so
tired of being sober,
chasing the dragon all day. And yeah, it got to a point where I couldn't even bring him out there, let alone like live there, which is what I wanted to do. That just completely went off the table when COVID started. And it started, I mean, I was there for a little over maybe a year and a half when this all started happening. So it all just changed. Like there's no way I'm going to send him to a school there. There's just no reason to stay as far as when it came to my son. Yeah, that was a big part of it. I mean, I want him to have a good education if that even exists anymore. I want him to go to some school that doesn't just tell him that he's evil and, at least give him a chance somewhere where it's still all right to be, and an American and a family and give him a fighting chance.
Yeah. It would be nice to, I think maybe summer going into the fall, I'm thinking whites are going to come back. I'm holding out hope that whites are going to be cool again. Yes. Speaking of perhaps fans who held a grudge for your departure, we have a super chat from Michael Lee. Hey Dave, it's Michael Lee. Can we bury the hatchet and make up for once? Wow, you sound like an ex-lover, Michael.
I know.
I apologize for chastising you on Crowder. I didn't know
he chastised me.
Please follow me back and come on the Michael Lee show. I miss you.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, Mike didn't chastise me. He's much too retarded. No, Mike, you're fucking annoying. I gave you 80 opportunities and you just wouldn't stop messaging me. And so, no.
You didn't like that he would message you?
Don, stop and tweet me every day and ask me questions. He's like, yeah, you get my Twitter's account kind of a parody, right? I'm like, why am I talking to you? So no, I don't. He should go to Vegas, get a whore like you do, calm down, go take pictures of girls with their tits out.
True. I mean, I think that's been not really happening much over the last year. So
He's got to be lonely without being able to go to Pornicon.
he messages me a ton too, but I guess
Yeah,
I
it's
have a
annoying.
higher threshold.
Well, you've just begun.
I feel sort of like I am the Statue of Liberty for like wayward men, you know, like I just sort of, I'm saying like, sure, come inside.
Yeah.
It's
No, yeah,
terrible.
Mike, I might hook you back up, Mike, but
Ooh,
we'll see. We'll see, buddy.
be on good behavior.
Because I don't hate Mike. I don't. I was always nice to Mike, but
I think
that's
he
what
means
bothers me.
well. I think he just socially like misses a few hints.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cues or
cues,
common sense. There's a
common
lot of
sense.
things missing.
Yeah, tact, sense.
Tact, right.
Yeah,
Any idea of how the world operates.
yeah.
Just sort of,
Just
these things.
minor things here. How I've been watching Crowder for what feels like forever. And I've been definitely watching since you've been on it. Like, how would you compare like the dynamic? I mean, there's no comparing it. I'm sure they're totally different guys to work with, but I wonder, like, do you feel like, because I was watching on your first couple of like, I guess, full official episodes there on Crowder. And I was like, I don't know if I'm watching you too closely, but I was almost like, oh, does Dave feel like he can't fully like say what he wants to say in terms of jokes? You know, like with the Cumia Show, it's like you had ultimate freedom and, you know, safely behind a paywall, and everybody like loves you and gets your humor. Did you feel like there was a little bit of like a slight maybe holding yourself back, or feeling like you had to be careful?
It's more like doing morning radio is the way that I look at where, yeah, you definitely do have to walk a certain tightrope, but you can still, the message is important, and it's going out to 5.4 million people. And then regardless of what people have written, you have millions of people behind the blaze. I mean, that's really where the money comes from. And so, yeah, you do have to kind of navigate it in a certain way because we are being watched. We're being ripped off of. We're being they're trying to deplatform us. He's in the middle of a lawsuit. You have to watch everything that you say. We can't just make jokes like I did on Anthony's show without proving where the joke or statement came from. So we have to have an entire list of facts on a separate website saying exactly the things that we're talking about and the proof of where it came from, because that's how, which it has nothing to do with comedy. Like, there's no reason why you should ever have to explain the reality of a joke or where it came from or anything else. It's absurd. So yeah, there's a point where, yeah, you do have to be careful because you can be ripped off of YouTube, which I'm sure will eventually happen. I mean, it's going to happen to anybody that they finally have their eye on. I mean, luckily, Compound Media is behind a paywall where not as many people watch it on YouTube. But if it builds more of a subscriber base on YouTube, it's going to get more eyes. That's going to get you kicked off because there's plenty of stuff on there that's far more offensive than anything I've ever said on Crowder. And
yes, easily. But that's what makes it so fun. Yeah.
And that's what I've always loved about that. But that's what I loved about our show, I guess, too, is we weren't necessarily trying to get a message out. I mean, Anthony has his politics. That's very obvious. But sometimes it was just making fun of music videos or books or whatever movie we saw, or it was really a conversation. And Anthony's one of the funniest people on earth. So it was a different thing. This is more of, it's important in the sense of there is an agenda behind it. And it is because he's fighting against big tech. He's fighting for freedoms. He's fighting for rights. He's pointing out things that are, he risks his life for what he believes in. And not that Anthony or anybody else doesn't. It's just, this is what he's willing to sacrifice a lot. And with Anthony, it was really always a comedy show. I always thought, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a brief time where I think it became political. When Gavin was on and Milo was on, and I know Gavin still comes on and he's hilarious, but
yeah, I think every Wednesday he's there, or most Wednesdays.
And then Malice was on, and it was definitely definitely more of like a right-leaning kind of a network. But I think, once he brings you on, you have In Hot Water, you have Don Jameson, it's become a comedy network, which I think is really a great thing. And that's what so yeah, I mean, it was way easier to do comedy on a comedy network. I mean, and that's nothing against either one, but you're right. It's two very different things.
And like you have the same kind of wit like that Anthony does, that Jim Norton does, that Rich Voss does. It's that razor sharp, like in the moment, very smart, high improvisational skills. Like you're able to just riff so fast. It's impressive to watch. It's impressive to like be a part of. Like I still think about this one time, like I was on the show with you and we were like making jokes about like this kid and like I think it was like this disabled kid in a sled or like a sled bed or something like that. And it was so funny. I'll have to ask like Damien to make a clip of it. But those moments where you're like in perfect flow with a couple other people, it's like it's magical. Like it's unrepeatable. And
Yes.
it's a high to be part of. It's like when you're doing a good riff on stage. It's like that same amazing feeling.
It's what comedy should feel like. I mean, there is this element of danger because you're talking about something that's maybe taboo or whatever it is. But there's just this feeling that you have that you don't necessarily always get. Like comedy should feel sometimes a little offensive, a little dirty, a little something that you might whisper,
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about Anthony's show is when we did it, we never hid that. And the idea that we're making fun of such tragic things like we would do was based on the fact that we were sad about it. And that's what you do is you dig out, you try to find the funny, and you just try to, it helps you justify and register it. And morbid comedy, dark comedy, gallows humor, whatever you want to call it, that was really what our specialty was. And that's what I just loved about sitting next to Anthony. And, we could be talking about a guy's face burned off and I'd say, oh, I wish I could do Droopy Dog. And then of course he could. And he's talking about, like, oh, my face. And I can't do impressions at all. And I just love the fact that anytime I would challenge him, he would pull something out. Crowder's got that too, where he can just hit that in a way that I don't even try.
Do you feel like appreciated for your wit? Do you feel like the guys get you, or do you feel like there's a little bit of like a Landau learning curve where they're sort of like, learning you and your timing and your wit?
No, I write so much of the stuff that ends up being put into sketch, which is something that I didn't get to do at Compound. And I wish, honestly, that we had done more of. Because at Compound, you have the ability. It's just people aren't. And that's just the reality. I really do enjoy doing the sketches, the commercials, the stuff that, like we wrote a thing where it was dubbing in Sesame Street. And the whole idea was it was Elmo asking a kid about melanin. And I just dubbed in facts from the BLM website. And, it got us pulled until we proved like, well, this is exactly what was said. The stuff that you find offensive wasn't us, it was them. So it got put back up. And it's fun to do because there's just this challenging, there's just a challenge to kind of this, I don't want to say Saturday Night Live, but rushing something out, like finding a story that hits at 7:45 and then you have a sketch at 8:15.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Like that's
it's cool.
That's always, I think when I probably first started improv way back when in like 06, 07, like that's what I had hoped maybe for a brief time to see for myself. But I do feel like it's very satisfying, the combination of like stand up and then the Compound. But yeah, I definitely like having been with the like network. I love it. But after 2 years, it's like you do start to see like, yeah, like that they're perhaps like missing opportunities for growth. Like there's a small staff, like there's no like marketing group. What they're able to achieve with as few people as they have is pretty remarkable.
Of course, yeah.
But I find myself like, as I start to run my own show and run my own podcast, you start thinking like, oh, like what else could we do to grow? So I sometimes feel frustrated with like what more we could be doing and how much bigger we could become. Because I've been to the Blaze like a bunch of times. I've done like Elijah Schaefer's show, Sarah Gonzalez's show, the News and Why It Matters, Chad Prather's show. Have you met Chad yet?
No, we have the same agent though. So I've talked to him
Ooh, love
online.
him.
So yeah, we have the same gay Mexican conservative agent.
Ooh.
He's a great human being. Honestly, he's one of my favorite people on earth. He's got like Roseanne and the Wayans brothers and stuff. And yeah, I have not met him yet, but I
You
do
should do
want to
his show.
He's invited me, and it's just a matter of finding the time to do it right now. So, but yeah, I want to. I've heard really great things about him, and I think he does something with Fox Nation too.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Of those three shows, I would say Chad's is the most like, okay, this is fully a comedy show. You can be your weird, wild self and like quick witted. And like I can be that way on like Sarah's and Elijah's show, but there's also very much like you need to know what's going on in the news. And like I almost feel like I need to come off smart before I come off funny. So
yeah, there's a lot of fans are Christian conservatives, and
yeah.
a lot of some of the stuff you're going to do is just not going to mesh necessarily. And there's nothing wrong with playing to your audience. So there is a certain filthiness to the New York comedy scene that has always been very acceptable, which I love. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love it. You know, David Tepple is a great example. Jim Norton. I mean, they're dirty comics, but they're brilliant. So there are just certain things that aren't necessarily going to mesh with a ton of Christian conservatives.
Oh yeah. After I do at least like Elijah's, but more so Sarah's show, I always get like, I'll read the YouTube comments or get tweets like, she's filthy. You know,
You'll get an occasional, yeah.
Mhm.
And well, like yesterday, I did a 7+1, which is just our stolen version of the top 10 list, and it was just shows for Jeffrey Toobin, the guy who flashed
Yes.
everybody. Yeah. So it's just like, you know, Man Meet the Press, stuff like that. Just kind of simple, but something that they can laugh at that's not way too over the top, where I'm not necessarily saying jizzing or I'm sort of more dancing around it. And
Yeah.
that's fun to do though. I mean, it allows you to be creative. And I've always loved that is when you can say something without actually saying it, where it's their fault for drawing the conclusion in their head.
Absolutely. And then I'm like, you're the dirty one. Like, yeah, if you can say gender fluid instead of jizz, or like I like to do that with my stand-up a lot too, is like bring someone right to the edge. Oh, really quick, some super chats. Will Bozarth, hey, Chrissy and Dave, no questions from me. Here's some money.
Ooh, there you go. Very nice.
Steel Wrath, knock knock. Who's there? Panda. Panda who? Panda jokes rule.
Thank you.
Aw, so much love in the chat. Yeah, what you're saying before about Crowder really putting himself out there. If people don't know, he, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong on this whole like YouTube censorship journey that you guys have been on. I know he's had 2 YouTube strikes. One was for COVID misinfo. The second was for like quote harassment and cyberbullying, which I think are bullshit. Because now that I've got a YouTube warning, I'm like, oh, they just do whatever they want whenever they want. It's just how big of a target are you? And is now the show fully demonetized off YouTube, or are you just fully censored? I mean, fully suspended.
No, we're still on YouTube.
Okay.
Where we got brought back on. The first strike was. How did you phrase it again?
It was actually, I've read an article or somewhere that it was considered COVID misinformation.
That's what it was. Gerald had said that there was scientific research saying that the masks weren't effective.
Wow. Isn't that so funny? Isn't that so funny? And now it's like, yeah, it's just the rules don't apply equally to everybody, because you could consider some of the early Fauci videos to be now misinformation. But
and the second one was there's that video of a cop who shoots a girl. It's a 16-year-old girl going to stab another girl.
Yes, yeah, with a knife, yeah.
And we said, and it wasn't even making fun of her or anything. We just said, why would you assume she's 16? She's a larger girl. You don't know her age when you're running up as the cop. But they considered that like bullying, because we were pointing out the fact that she's just she's somebody going to stab someone and that's how she got shot. And we talked about it. It's like, look, it's like, why didn't you shoot him in the leg? Well, because it's not an Old West movie. You're just trying to stop somebody from stabbing someone. And the girl who didn't get stabbed seemed very happy about it.
Yeah, where's the interview with her?
Right, that somebody was there. You have the one girl's dad kicking somebody in the face on the lawn. Like, it's pretty crazy. And yeah, we just pointed out that it's a very large person going to stab somebody. So that's what they did, was they shot at the target. And that's why we got pulled off, was because I also feel the shooting was justified. And I've had arguments, Crowder and I, we don't see eye to eye on Saint George, on George Floyd. Like, he's very much on the side of the police in that. I'm not, and I've gotten crap from a lot of people for it, where I think that I think it was an absurd thing that happened to put him on the ground, even at his own request. It's like, you're a cop, put him in the car, get him out of there. You don't I don't care if it was what part of his back, but you kneeled on a guy instead of doing, the cop shouldn't be orchestrating his own arrest, or a criminal shouldn't be orchestrating their own arrest. So we have two different feelings on it. He feels strongly that the cop was in the right. I think the cop was in the wrong. I don't think he meant to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that it was a murder thing, but I do think that it was handled improper. So it's like, we that's what's nice about Crowder, and Anthony was always the same way too. For these people who get attacked for having these hard opinions, they're willing to have anybody on their show and talk to them about it, and not argue and be angry. They're willing to just hear another opinion.
Yeah, which sounds so simple, but like in this day and age, it's like it's a big deal.
Well, yeah, because you don't get that. I mean, if you have any opinion other than whatever the popular narrative is, you're considered prejudice or evil or a nationalist or any of the 8 billion things that I've been called and you've been called that I don't even understand. So it gets tiring after a while, but you have to just keep saying what you believe. And it's so strange, because when I look up like a liberal ideology, which is essentially democracy or is essentially capitalism or less government, all these things are really liberal. And that's just not it anymore. The stuff that's why I don't even consider that side liberal. I just don't see it.
To be a regular liberal now is you're considered right wing. And it's like, when did this all happen? I guess slowly but surely over the last few years. Do you feel like years of being called names as Anthony's co-host prepared you for being called names on Louder with Crowder?
You can't be in the O&A world and deal with those. Like, they're the best and cruelest trolls can get. Like, they're the best at it. I'll give them.
They're very talented.
Yeah, they're very good. And it's to go from really that to anybody else. I mean, these people will say something to you, you say it back, they'll just block you. They won't. They'll freak out and just block you. And it's just you even responding like, thanks, and then they just block you. It's a totally different. It's a different world. It doesn't have that. Doesn't attract the pests that the O&A universe did for so long. So yeah, I mean, they certainly are. They're far more. They sort of invented the genre. So it's kind of hard to compare. And when people come at you and attack you, and especially if they leave their picture up or you know who they are, that's just so easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, here's from Daniel Lasky. Dave, do you think Crowder ever mentions Owen Benjamin again? What's the story behind that?
I don't know the full Owen story, to be honest. I only met Owen on Anthony's show.
Okay.
But I know they had some sort of falling out. I think, I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever, if he will bring it up again. He doesn't really talk about him or trash him. So I don't really know. And I don't recall Owen trashing Crowder either, at least on, the show where I met him. But I know there is something there. Like, there is some bad blood, but truthfully, I couldn't even tell you what it is.
Yeah. Okay, and this is from David Carpenter. Hi, Dave. Can we get a Dave style? Are you inviting Crowder and gang to BJ Fest this year? Will you be back as a guest on other compound programs?
They're Christian, so BJ Fest will not be happening with them. But I'll still be holding it though.
What is
And
BJ Fest?
I have no idea. It's something that In Hot Water.
Oh, okay.
We did 2 months. I don't know, 7 months ago, whatever it was. It was. I wasn't able to make a show because I was at Blowjob Fest. And it was difficult to orchestrate, as I recall, because of all the masks. You could cut a hole in one mask, but you had to wear two and then pull it down.
Oh,
there were a lot of restrictions at the last BJ Fest, so I really want to make sure that we can have a good time.
And did you have to put your mask up in between each load that you had to swallow?
You do, yeah. You can spit, but you really shouldn't. It's just not hygienic.
Yeah. You don't want the particles to get around there.
Yeah, that would be terrible. So yeah,
God, it's your favorite again, Michael Gavinelli. I took your saying hello, everyone. I do my Dave Landau saying Dave style. Okay, he's just gonna talk about himself again. All right, Michael. Thanks for the super chat.
Is that so you open by saying Dave style
on your podcast,
or did you say hello everyone? I'm confused on what he typed.
Yeah, do you say hello everyone? Which I don't know. I don't know that you've trademarked hello everyone.
It's not mine. I do have it on a coffee cup.
Yeah.
But now I say ahoy because I didn't think that it was right to bring hello everyone. It's not okay. That was a compound thing. I feel I would feel unloyal if I did that.
Okay. Fake name. Ethan Klein is getting piled on by several YouTubers and is still doubling down on his COVID bullcrap. What do you guys think about that? Who is I don't know anything about this.
I don't know much. Ethan Klein, from what I understand, from what we played on the show, he was talking about the masks on his radio show or podcast, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, look, the science is just there for you. You don't even have to think about it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So we used it as a soundbite, which he got upset about. So I know him, and I believe him and Crowder are going to be having a debate soon. But yeah, we just kind of gently teased him, and he didn't like that very much. And it really wasn't even. We just played the sound clip because saying it's just the science, you don't even have to think about it, dude, is the antithesis of anything I believe. Like, you shouldn't question something. You shouldn't have concerns. That's why a doctor doesn't just prescribe you pills and go here. And you would go, well, what is it? They wouldn't just go, no, just shove these in your mouth 3 times a day. I promise it'll work.
There's some people that would do that.
I think there are. And he's a guy who had some YouTube popularity from what I understand. And then the woman who runs YouTube kind of pulled him under his wing, and he went from being sort of an irreverent guy to social justice.
Oh, okay.
So that's all I know. But I've heard, I know that he's been going. People have gone hard at him for it, but none of us told him to do that. So, and okay. I hate that stuff. I really don't like drama, but it was just a funny thing he said, so we made fun of it.
Really quickly from Matthew Hammond. Both of us have amazing hair tonight. Oh my God. Thanks, Matthew. I washed mine. And that's really all there is to it.
Is that me or you? I think you have amazing.
Both of us have amazing hair. That's what the comment says.
That's very kind of you.
Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, Matthew's one of my OG original fans here. I meant to say this before. I really appreciate the way in which, because I think Crowder gets, more shit than Anthony does. I think Crowder is just like, I don't know what it is about him. I don't know. I think he's just out there more, and he puts himself out there more. And it's, both guys are very brave and have been fighting for free speech kind of since day one. But I don't know. Why do you think that Crowder gets more heat? Maybe just more eyes on him, bigger audience, or?
Oh, truthfully, he shakes the hornet's nest more. He'll go into, let's say, Lansing, Michigan, and actually go at the governor. ask questions and have a vest on, and people will say like, oh, you're just acting, and it's like, no, he does get death threats. People want him dead, and that's the crazy thing, is he really is fighting for something that he believes. And I think he goes more into the shit of it, where I think Anthony was always really loved, and he made what is arguably a mistake one time, and
Yeah.
had a couple things happen, and it's been used against him ever since. And I think there were a lot of people that turned their backs on him. I've been accused of that, but the reality is I would have never left that show if he wasn't moving. It's the only reason why I even considered leaving what's arguably the greatest job ever, if you could even put the word job into what we had. But I think he got screwed over in a lot of ways. And I think that's why Anthony doesn't go too hard at stuff. He is who he is. He's 60 years old. He's just enjoying his life. I mean, that's what I always loved about him, was he's just a guy who wants to play video games, watch the occasional movie, and hang out with his friends. He's genuinely one of the most fun people I've ever met.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And it's two different things. I mean, he's very laid back for the kind of reputation that he has, because he's just not that guy. He's just not this guy people have made him into. He's just a really funny radio host. He's the last of the genuine shock jock who's kind of calmed down a little bit. It's just not to the level of Stern, to where he denies where he came from. It's just, he is who he is. And I think Crowder he's young and he's hungry, and he's really fighting for something that he sees as his future and his children's future.
Yeah, it's almost like with Anthony, like he kind of like was the first one to like take a bullet and really get screwed on, like kind of the pioneers of cancel culture. Whereas like now this war is in play and it's full on and it's like widespread. And to me, Crowder seems like, no, he's just charging into the battle there.
Yeah, it's, I think, I know you've gone to certain events. I just realized what it was, so I stopped. But it's like, I know, but it's like you've been to certain things where you're willing to go in, you're hungry for it. And he comments on it. And that's what I liked. I always loved about Anthony, and we both have the same taste in music, movies, that sort of thing. So it was always fun to do. Like, I loved staying at his house and watching Compound Cinema and just throwing on Roadhouse and making fun of it, or Face Off, or just stuff that people would probably be, like maybe half the people were entertained, maybe a quarter of them were, but we were entertained. And that's really all that mattered, was I got to just hang out with my friend. And that's one thing that I'll always love about Anthony, is he always appreciated you for you. And that's why you were there.
Yeah, he seems to accept people, like, just, I don't know, as they are. He's him no matter what. And I feel like he can make a good show around anybody, He makes everybody look good.
I was always honored that I got the job, and I always truthfully was surprised. And not that I didn't bring anything there, and I came in as a third mic to him and Artie. And, there's so much drama and things that happen but Anthony was never the cause of any of it. And that's something that he just doesn't like drama. He's not that guy. And I don't think Crowder's that guy either, but Crowder's willing to create the drama if it's something that he's willing to die on a hill for. And you're going to get people to hate you. It's not that they're just going to disagree with you. He's willing to literally take bullets for his cause. And that's not something you see in a lot of people. That's why when they've even asked me at shows, people who are like, they enjoy the show, but they're like, he's kind of a grifter, right? Like, he's not really, people will say that and accuse him of that online. And it's like, no, he's one of the most genuine people I've met.
Yeah, you can't, if he were grifting, it's like he would be a lot safer with his takes. He wouldn't, didn't he invent the whole, like, something, change my mind? Like, that was him, right?
Yeah, there are only two genders. Change my mind.
Yeah.
Assault rifles shouldn't be illegal. Change my mind. Whatever. He's gone and people also accuse him of going and fighting against younger people at colleges, people that are that they think is easy to debate. And it's like, no, those are the people though that are causing the issues.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that are protesting and rioting and like that's like Berkeley used to be a great school. Then it just turned into a bunch of people trying to destroy everything and everyone, not have a conversation, push an agenda. Like that's who you go to. You go to the people that don't want to see you.
Yeah, it really feels like all colleges and universities, like, well, I graduated in like '05, and that was when it was starting to get a little bit social justice-y to me, but it was still this place of like, oh, everyone's open-minded, you're learning a lot, it's higher education. Now it's like, it just feels like a kind of an army, like the woke students in a university it feels like they're building an army for something.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
remember being somewhat woke. Like I only went to community college for a year in Second City, but the stuff that we're doing now as comics was considered like the liberal version of it in 2001, 2002, like when I started there, where it's flipped somehow, where the being able speaking truth to power, actual power, not becoming a spokesperson for Amazon and Walmart and all these companies, becoming a don't question pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah,
Don't
listen to
question.
people smarter than you. Like, I hate all these phrases and
That's it.
sayings that the celebrities have been
In
saying.
what way is that any sort of liberal thought? It doesn't make any sense to me. The whole thing is you should be questioning authority and you make fun of who's in power. That's the idea too with a comic. You make fun of the people more powerful than you. You don't agree with everything that they say and push it on the people that don't. I mean, that's what it's become. We have two people who are running this country who I personally feel shouldn't be. And I personally feel probably didn't get there legitimately.
No, I think most people can agree on that. I feel like it's probably low key still Obama time, but uh, I appreciate Crowder's style of like getting in there, and you kind of do have to shake the hornet's nest because it's not enough to just fire back an opposing opinion on Twitter or even on your show. It's like you have to get in there and make people think. So whether it's like setting up a sort of like debate lemonade stand or
Yeah, that's
yes, speaking
good
at
way to put it, yeah.
schools, it's like you have to break apart what is sort of established and you have to force people to think, because if you just come at them with a difference of opinion, it's so easy to swat that away and be like, no, I'm right, you're wrong. You have to make somebody think and explain their point.
Well, absolutely. And the internet's turned it into something where you don't actually have to explain your point or have a conversation or really do the most important thing during a conversation, which is listen to the other person. It's allowed you to get rid of all of that. So the only thing is me screaming my point at you and you're wrong if you don't agree. And most people's points are just rhetoric. They're not actual original thought. And that's something that is I think missing from our society completely. I think people are so afraid of the response of others that they don't want to be that honest. They don't want to be that open. And that's why we're living in what we have now. I mean, why do you think most people wear the mask? Because they're afraid of a germ or because they're afraid somebody's going to hurt them? It's because somebody's going to hurt them.
I think it dials down like the stakes of the whole day. Like if you're somebody who's walking around all day with a mask on, like I think it lowers the standard for what kind of a day you're going to have, what you're going to accomplish. Like you're not going to really put yourself out there. If you're a single person, you're less likely to like chat up a stranger. You're like, I don't know. It's just everything is dialed way down.
Well, everything about you being an individual is taken away. And any ability to smile in a conversation or any sort of nuance is stolen from you. You just become another thing. That's it.
A cog, yeah, a consumer. It's like, and like what we were saying before, like people, I just know for myself, like, and I've had to fight against this feeling like not wanting to debate. It comes from a place of like, nobody wants to sound stupid or misinformed or like, oh, I've been outed. Like I'm not as smart as I like to come across, or I haven't read as much as I want people to think.
No, it's like,
behold, look at all my books. I haven't read all these.
yes, I have some under a TV. I haven't. There's Mike Malice's there. I read it.
Oh, yeah.
I understood probably at least 10 or 11 pages of it.
I'm reading the his new anarchy book now, and it's like I'm still in the part where it's like other people's essays and feels a little dense, but it's definitely interesting stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I don't pretend that I enjoy books about music and rock and bands and very simple biographies. It's just stuff that I like. And I like just hearing other people's opinions. I'll read their opinions. Like right now I'm reading David Mamet's book. I didn't know that he was a conservative, but he became one. So, and because I love Glenn Ross and what is it? Homicide was a movie that he made that I really liked with Joe Mantegna. That's right. I like that stuff, and I like to just see what people's opinions are, why they became who they are, because I'm still trying to figure all this out. A lot of this doesn't make sense to me, and over the last few years, people can say it's red-pilled or anything else. It's just I'm trying to follow where the logic goes and to where I feel that it'll be safer for my son, and I think a lot of people feel that way regardless of what side you're on. But I just like to, I don't know, I like to hear what other people have to say.
Logic and listening. How masculine of you.
Yes, I try.
Fake name. Are you the PNS master? Nah, I'm a werewolf. I have no idea what that's about.
That's actually real. Yes, I am the penis master.
And, penis. You don't want to write penis.
Yes, penis. Yes, I'm the penis master, and I did Room with a Werewolf in 1999. I think it was not a real one. Okay. He thought he was a werewolf. And yes, I am.
QZ Entertainment. Dave Landau is not only a good egg, but his shirt is the same color as one too.
It's a band called Death.
Ooh.
If you've not seen that documentary, you got to watch it. I'm telling you, it's great. It's about a Detroit punk band that basically never took off because they named their band Death and refused to change it.
Wow. It's almost like calling a movement Black Lives Matter and then fighting anybody who disagrees with it.
You mean incorporating and buying 3 houses?
Yes, of course. President-elect Archie Bunker says, "Ahoy, Dave and Chrissie." Dave, have you noticed change in the type of audience at stand-up shows since you made the move to Mug Club? Love you both. Good question.
Absolutely. Well, the compound fans that come out to shows were always great. It would depend where you were at, because it would be sometimes the entire audience and then other times a smattering of people who may have even flown in from other places. And now I haven't had a show that didn't sell out in almost 2.5 months.
Okay.
And I know, but I can finally say it for once.
Wow.
But there are people that bring their mugs.
Because it's half capacity.
Yes, exactly. That's crazy when it's not, though.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, partially, yeah. Some areas.
No.
But like great. This week I'll be in
Buffalo.
Waterford, Michigan. Weekend after was Buffalo, yeah. And then this weekend's Waterford, Michigan, and that sold out right when I mentioned it today. And
now they had
a late show on Saturday. So it's not even a bragging thing. It's just really nice that after almost 2 decades in comedy to have people there that actually want to meet me. Even the first time it happened, I was at Skyline, the club, and I was waiting to, it's such a good room. I was waiting to get, just to sell merch. I'm standing there and all of a sudden a line formed and I was like, the bathroom's in the back by the stage. It's not by me.
Like, are you here to complain about something? Yeah.
And it was to take a picture with me. And I had some compound fans that had a name tattooed on them, or a lot of diehard fans that were really cool and fly out. And a lot of compound fans were there too, but it was everyone. And I had never, ever experienced that kind of love and support that I was getting from the Mug Club subscribers.
Wow. That's really amazing. And probably maybe they're a smidge more religious or Christian.
I think that's fair to say. And it's interesting because I'm not an atheist though either. I'm just not.
You just do yoga?
I just do yoga. I'm very spiritual. I'm like a 20-year-old college girl. I just don't know. So I'm willing to, again, like, I'll find out when I'm dead.
That sounds
And
good.
I'll just try not to be a piece of shit until
Yeah. I think you're doing a good job. Steel Wrath says, the reverence for Anthony brings a tear to my eye. Patrice O'Neill once said, no one can access funny as fast as Anthony. Dave could keep pace with him.
Oh, thank you. It's really nice.
That's a dog who wrote that.
I'll take it. I will take Steel Wrath.
Ooh.
Thank you. But yeah, he really is. Oh, go ahead. You can do that.
No.
But Anthony really is the greatest, and Patrice was absolutely right about him. Anthony can get to the funny faster than anyone, and people even ask me, like, he writes it before the show, and it's like he doesn't even know what he's going to talk about. He's got his reading glasses on as he's skimming through, and he's like, here's 50 articles, and then they just pick it like they're spinning a wheel. That's all improv. All of it.
He's kind of begun doing, like, at the last few Comedians of the Compound shows, like, he's been doing pretty much, like, legit stand-up. And I feel like it all came back to, we were at Stand Up New York, and I was hosting. There were 2 shows, but I wasn't hosting the second one. But I think he got so drunk by the second show, he thought that I was still hosting. So I think he had this moment where he thought that I was bringing him to the stage, when really I was just doing my set. So he wanders up to the stage, like, we're maintaining eye contact. I'm like, I'm about to start to get to a place where I'm wrapping up my set. It definitely wasn't the end yet. And like Anthony just starts walking up on stage. And he's the boss. I'm not going to tell him, get the hell out of here. And then he picks up the other microphone. He's like, hi, Chrissie. You know, he just like kind of goes into his set. And then we were like briefly doing this like 2-man thing for a while. And of course, like the stairs are by him. And it was awkward. I was like, I'm not going to leave. And there were even a couple guys in the back. They were like, let her finish. And I was like, shut up. Like he could do what he wants. And I think ever since like that show and then the next couple ones and then the last one, in Austin, that it wish it would have made sense for you to be at. I don't know if
I wish I would have been at it. Yeah.
I wish that I didn't know if that was a thought for anyone, but
I was on the flyer and then I didn't end up, I don't know. I didn't know if it would be awkward. And then I think I talked to Anthony, he was fine with it, but I didn't know, you know, I'm a comic. What are you going to do?
Yeah. We're all like,
everybody could have all just called each other, but instead.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, if I had been kind of, I probably was just like dropping the ball here and there. It would have been good, but
it's not your fault. It's it's my fault.
It's Berg's fault now.
Mainly Aaron's.
Mainly Aaron. Yeah, but he is. I think he's now just doing what he does behind the desk, like on stage, and I think having a really good time with it.
We did. It was Bernie and Sid. It was a comedy benefit, and it was probably 3 years ago now, and it was at the Hard Rock on Broadway. And they had the whole thing rented out for this event, and he wanted to go up on stage, but they just wanted him to say hi, and he was pretty apprehensive. Like, I don't know how many times he's gone on just himself when it's not a concert or he's just being Dice. But he's like, what do you think I should talk about? Like, if I do anything, I'm like, just talk about the show. Like, what you're talking about on the show today, like Sasquatches and UFOs and all, and like Trump just like bringing people to Area 51 and just outing all this stuff that he had. And he's like, oh, okay. And he went up on stage and did probably somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes and just crushed. They loved him. And I'm like, even when he got off, I'm like, I don't understand why you would leave money like this sitting on the table, because people do genuinely love him, especially in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, that whole, I mean, he could just clean house. And I don't know if it's just a fear he has of it, but it's nice when I see the pictures of him on stage doing stand-up, because it wouldn't take him much to be amazing at it.
Yeah. He's got all the tools. For sure.
Oh my God, he's unbelievable.
Fake name, making fun of Democrats became taboo during Obama. Mm-hmm. I guess that's true. Yeah.
Well, yeah, look at SNL. I mean, it was, for some reason, Fred Armisen in blackface, which was fine with everybody and still is. But yeah, it just became sort of, it was an untouchable thing. And then after that, well, we've seen how the last 5 years have gone.
Oh, okay. Wow. I'm gonna have to blow someone for this super chat. Thank you so much. Just blah, blah, blah. Watching Crowder, then saw this. Paused Crowder. Here with you live. Thanks. I want to see you two both on Friday Night Tights. Make it happen, Nerdrotic. Yes, you'd be good on this show. I think you have some nerd tendencies, don't you, Dave? Are you
Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very much an open nerd.
an open nerd.
Yes.
Sounds like a sex move. Yeah.
It is.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of sex moves, as you do these shows that are selling out more and more, are you getting, because I can't imagine like wifey is going to all of them. Are you getting a lot of like hoes hanging out after the show? I mean, probably any guy stand up is getting girls hanging out after the shows to hook up. But are you noticing it more?
Some are, but it was usually, like a gross neck tattoo and, scars. Yeah, and people have DM'd and stuff, but I'm just so very, very careful with that because you don't know who anybody is. And the idea that you would put that in writing is just astonishing to me. But that's why Matt McClowry is my opener. I'm always next to him because if anybody comes up to me, I was there the whole time. I got in the car with him. I went back. There's cameras.
Oh, wow.
I don't try. I can't imagine in this day and age wanting to do any of that for so many reasons. I mean, one, being unfaithful is already a bad look in my opinion, but just to put yourself at risk of being accused of God knows what, because that was such a popular thing for a while. It's not worth it. I can't imagine. It's flattering. I mean, it really is, but I can't. I don't give it much thought or response when girls do that.
It's got to be tough because I feel like that was always something that was really great about being a dude stand-up, like pre-Me Too. Is like you could clean up. You did not, even when I was open micing, like you didn't even have to be that good looking or that funny. Like you could just be kind of one or the other, and girls would be like, wow.
Yeah, especially I would go with guys to like a small town, and I was never not in a relationship, so it just didn't really. It was never anything that I got to experience, but I watched it firsthand a lot.
Yeah.
Where, you would just watch. You could see some of the most mediocre, ugly headliners leave with two girls, and you're like, all right, this is. Yeah. I remember.
Doing what he loves.
I was with Dustin Diamond one weekend. I don't mean to brag.
God rest his soul.
R.I.P. But yeah, he cleaned up. I mean, in the green room, in his hotel. It was one after
he's horrible
the other.
Looking. I mean, I know he's dead and he's a celebrity, but
and they're not even there for comedy though. They're just like, that Screech. I want his dick in my mouth.
Yeah, we watched his porn the day he died. We watched it on a web spot. Yeah, and it was a terrible porn. It was just bad for every reason you could think of.
The acting.
Ooh, super chat from Frankie Poo. Would Landau ever consider doing a guest spot on a Comedians of the Compound show if schedules lined up? Wow, this is just what we were talking about.
Yes.
Yes, of course, and he should.
I absolutely would. I love Compound, and anybody who thinks that it was anything other than a difficult choice really doesn't know me.
Yeah. I feel like people were not fair in their response, but I understand too, like they get attached, like they watch someone talk for hours every day and they go, oh, this is my person. Like this is,
I was kind of happy with a few of them because I got some pretty horrible hate mails. And then a month later, I got apologies for the hate mails and explaining why they sincerely enjoyed the show so much. And that
they had thought about it.
Good. Yeah, where I'm like, oh, yeah, you were passionate enough to send me a thing wishing me death, but now you're telling me you don't really want me to die. You just enjoyed the show from 4 to 6.
You were trying to tell me that you loved me in your own way.
That's it. I'll take it. I'll take it from that universe.
In Hot Water says, tell Chrissy about Detroit dead babies and ceilings. What?
Well, that is real. They're not everywhere, of course, but there was a funeral home last year that got caught because they were kind of putting the babies on layaway until they could afford the funeral, and they were hiding them in the ceilings.
No way.
For real, yeah. And then one day it just started raining babies, And then they went to
Wait,
another
where
funeral
was this? Was this a funeral home? They just put him up
last year.
under the boards or whatever.
Yeah, however you stuff them into the ceiling, I'm not sure. I'm yet to do it.
Why would you just
But
throw it in a freezer or something, like a
you would
walk-in?
assume. I feel like, yeah, by the time you pay off the baby, it's already ruined.
Yes.
Once you're able to have that coffin money. But then they went to another one of the guy's funeral homes, and sure enough, in the ceiling, just a bunch of dead babies.
So everyone's doing this.
It was 2 out of 2 is pretty terrible. So it leads me to believe they're not the only ones in the city who are behaving like this.
And then what? A big rain came in, and then the ceiling gave way.
I guess I don't remember the exact story for when it happened, but yeah, well, there might have just been so many the ceiling gave way. It may have not even been the rain. It may have just been the weight of babies. But yeah, they fell through the ceiling, I believe, during a funeral. So
wow,
it ruined an already very sad occasion.
Wow. Imagine there's women at the funeral that like just can't get pregnant, or there's women that are like in that very moment are feeling horrible about their abortions, and then it rains dead babies and they're like, I'm sorry, God, for smiting you.
Or they're 46 just praying that maybe they can have one. Like, if I could just have a baby.
Oh my God.
And then it just rains.
One of my sister's friends that I've known forever, and like as I've grown into my politics more, she has distanced herself from me, like kind of everybody else. But yeah, she's at this point now, I think like 45. She's had her eggs on ice for like a good 10 years, and her boyfriend, I think, was like maybe 8 or 10 years younger than her. So their whole relationship, she's been waiting for him to be like old enough to propose or whatever. I just feel bad because she's definitely one of these women that's like, yeah, definitely there's freezer burn on those eggs at this point.
Yeah, and you might get something, but it's gonna be a burden.
A bird?
A burden.
Oh. There was a mix-up at the egg freezer.
Either way, well,
enjoy
it depends.
Enjoy the bluebird.
Could have a bird face.
Yeah, bird face, a tail. Fake name. Oh, this guy's got a lot of money. Chrissie, we need you on Toxic Femininity, Monday, 8 p.m. Actually, I am doing Toxic Femininity, I think on July 5th. So your prayers have been answered.
What is Toxic Femininity?
I think it's run by one of the guys who does Friday night, who's on the Friday Night Tights, like one of those nerds from like that nerd world. I'm not saying it right.
Okay. No, I get it.
I just keep calling them nerds over and over again.
It's reasonable.
What do you find are there certain topics that you and Crowder like butt heads on or don't agree on? You mentioned earlier like you don't agree on the George Floyd stuff. Do you find like you and him disagree on a lot of certain things?
Not really. We don't really disagree on a ton of stuff, which is why I get along with him. I don't see eye to eye with him on everything, which is I think nice. I don't see, but yeah, I'd say the largest thing online that we did butt heads on was the George Floyd thing, because a lot of people came after me, and it's had nothing to do with disliking police. I've had my own history with police. I'm aware that there are very bad cops because I've had the shit kicked out of me by him. Oh yeah.
Was he white? Was it a white cop?
It was a white cop.
Typical.
Both times, yes. It was the same white cop both times, and his partner.
Oh, so this guy just knew you.
Yeah, he knew me. He beat me up in my driveway with nightsticks, and he threw me down the stairs at a house party.
Oh my God.
Him and another guy, yeah. So I've had my issues with police where I feel that I'm speaking from an honest place when I talk about it, where, yeah, they're not all good, but they're not all bad. The idea of defunding them to get worse people into the position is insane to me. You're taking away your own protection, especially in neighborhoods where people need more of it. They need more funding for it. Like the idea that we've demonized all police. Like I used to hate cops. I'll happily admit that. When I was young, I hated them all. But once I grew up and started looking at people like people, you go, okay, well, it's fine to judge people on an individual basis. And if you're breaking the law, even if it's going 15 over, you're breaking the law. You might get caught, you might not. That's kind of the deal.
Yeah. Shoot, how is he was having heart problems, wasn't he? He had to like go in for
He's getting it replaced.
he's getting his heart replaced.
Yes, with a baboon heart.
He's like the Tin Man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's having twins at the same time as his chest, basically his heart just squeezes against his chest, causing an insane amount of pressure and pain. So he has to have surgery to basically fix the arteries and then pull the chest out. I guess this is, by the way, the dumbest way of explaining it, I'm sure, because I don't know anything about doctoring.
No, it makes sense. They're just making more room in his chest.
They're making room for the heart that beats against his chest. So yeah, he's about to undergo some pretty serious surgery in the next month or two.
Wow, I'm just imagining like a is it Dr. Seuss? No, it's something else with like his heart grew twice the size that day. The Grinch. Yeah, the Grinch.
It's the Grinch. Yeah, I was just thinking it'd be funny if it was Dr. Seuss doing the operation.
Oh my God, I trust him more than Dr. Fauci.
Well, that's true because Dr. Seuss made up less things.
Am I being paranoid where I'm like, oh, I hope his doctor is like not a brainwashed liberal, but I don't know. If he's a doctor, he probably has money, which means he's probably conservative.
I would imagine he's probably interviewing the doctors that are going to operate on him. Plus, it's probably an Indian guy who believes in the American dream. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's probably Rupesh. Yeah.
It's probably not some white liberal guy. It's just some brown guy who's like, yeah, no, this is a great country. You're wrong.
Okay, there's one more from you-know-who. Hey, Dave, you meant a lot to me. Yes, I can be crazy sometimes. Wow, it's like these are paid text messages. I love it. Thanks for getting me into the comedy shows. When are you coming to Long Island?
Well, you're welcome. And I don't know. I'm working on it right now. My agent did get talked to by governors, so hopefully we'll see that. Towards the end of the year, too, I'll be in Jersey and a couple other places, too, in New York, where I really do. I don't even know if the show's going to still be there, though. Is Anthony still in the city?
He is. Yeah, I think he's looking more like it'll maybe happen by the fall. His
house is sold, right? Am I allowed
to
say
that? I think it is. I don't 100% know for sure. But
okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I thought it sold, so I wasn't sure if he was officially out of the city or not.
I think everything's taking like a long time.
I can imagine it's awful.
I wonder if they bought like all of his like Guido curtains and like chandeliers. I hope so. Maybe those came with it.
Maybe he took the chandelier.
Yeah. Matthew H says, were you in the same circles as Amy Schumer before she became a woke idiot? Did anyone see it coming?
No, I never met Amy. I guess you could say I was in the same circles where I knew like Bobby Kelly and a few other people who knew her. But no, I don't think I've ever even met Amy Schumer, to be honest.
I just met her in high school and she was on the volleyball team, but that was pre-comedy.
Yeah, you went to high school with her, but she was older than you.
Yeah,
right?
She was in my sister's grade. She would make fun of my sister. So then my sister and I bonded over her eventual decline.
Oh, you don't like her cooking show?
Oh boy. Yeah, what is it like? Is it with her husband? Is like cooking with autism or something?
Yeah, he has autism and I don't know what happened.
Is it called like Asperger's and hamburgers or something?
It is, yes. That's exactly what it's called.
That would be a great name.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you can. She had some good specials. I don't care what anybody says. And then Trainwreck was a really good movie. And then I don't know what the hell happened right after that, but wow.
Yeah, if that's what success does to female comics, yikes.
Well, yeah, I just don't think she realized that her fan base was kind of the Opie and Anthony fan base. You know, she was an opener for Norton, and that's what people liked about her, was that she was a crude comic. And that all just switched one day. I guess I just don't understand that.
Maybe she felt like that was the future. It's hard because I'm sure a lot of fans feel like, man, like, did we ever really know her? Was that the real her, or is it the real her now? Or are both true?
It's just odd to go from being very talented to putting out a special that is the reason why they stopped putting reviews on Netflix. I mean, that's a huge...
Is that really why? Oh,
Yeah, it was
shoot.
because of
Was
her
it
leather
the leather
special.
special?
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
leather
I couldn't
special.
get past the outfit. I was just like, girl. She looked like a sausage at a nightclub. I just was like, why? How are there no gays around you telling you to wear something different?
I thought the out of touch. I thought it was strange for somebody who's just like a little older than me to say, "Oh, the leather special that you do." Where it's like I'm really not sure. Like, what are you referencing? Like Chris Rock in the '90s, or what? Like Eddie Murphy? Like there really isn't tons of leather specials.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like a dominatrix, like something you'd order from a dominatrix menu. I'll have the leather special.
Which is odd because she was somebody who I actually enjoyed watching blow up because I thought, from what I saw,
you mean the size?
Well, there's that. Which that her husband's
me and my sister have enjoyed watching her blow up.
I'm sure you have, especially if she was mean to her.
Yeah, she was. She bullied her in high school. But my sister probably was worthy of bullying. She was in the AV club. She didn't go to the prom.
Yeah, I don't know if that's who you should attack.
No. She was minding her own business. Yeah.
Yeah, that was almost like, that's the person.
She just wasn't cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really attack that person, though. That was never who you bullied.
She didn't deserve it. No.
Well, she sounds lovely. I like it. She's into audio, video, and quiet. There's nothing wrong.
Quiet nights at home. Yeah. Yeah. Amy was cool. She was like, I think she was her family was well to do.
That's what I've heard. And then there's the idea that she wasn't at all. But I've heard that she actually was pretty well off.
I think her dad at one point, they were from the city or something, and then they moved to Long Island when the dad lost a job or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was, or was it? I don't know. Where did you go to?
Staten Island? Rockwell Center on Long Island.
Oh, okay. So it was Long Island. Okay, I thought you were from Long Island. All right.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that it's not very obvious right away.
No, you're not. You don't have the thick accent and the,
After 3 more of these, though, it'll be out.
It just comes out once
it comes out. I'm like, where's the coffee? I'm falling asleep. Fake name. I was put on the ground by a cop for not stopping at a sign when I questioned. Also let go by a cop when I was at fault. Not all bad. Hit or miss.
Agreed. That is a good way to orchestrate my point. Not all bad. Some cops will tackle you to the ground for walking down the street, and other cops will be like, all right, we all make mistakes. Have a good day.
My favorite are the ones that take their pants off at bachorette parties.
They are the best. Or just at my apartment when I call them. It's my own party.
Okay, this seems to be... Okay, this person I think is lying about your height. But super chat from Wyman Tyler Bear. Dave is a 4'6" guy, which I've stood next to. You're not 4'6". How would you handle restraining a 6'6", 270-pound black guy who appeared to be having a schizophrenic break? Shot to the leg.
This is what I mean by the people that get angry because you have a different point. So I'm 5'5.5". Happy to admit it.
Take that.
If you want to rent an airplane and write it across the sky, you're more than welcome to. I wouldn't because I'm not a police officer. If I was a police officer, I would use the other 3 people I had with me to get him put in the car.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would restrain him.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to restrain a dude. I would restrain only children and other women if I were a lady cop.
Yeah. If I was dealing with a 6'6", I like how he has to write black guy.
It has to be, right. He has to be black.
Yeah, it's just always a black guy in these situations. But that's how I would restrain him, by doing the job of getting him into the car and out of there as soon as possible to not create an instant riot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And again, I don't think he deliberately killed him either.
No, I don't think so either. Although, I mean, in the bedroom, I like a little knee on my neck sometimes. Ash Ray, Dave is effing hilarious on Louder with Crowder. Crowder is okay too.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
That's all. No, wait.
That's all we got.
That's all. Oh gosh, wait, is there more? God, this is like I'm gonna have to give Dave a cut of this. This is amazing. La Schwa Schwa. Sorry, Chrissy. Asked wife about BJ. Said she's got it handled. Can you guys come to Cali? Love to see a show near me. Where in Cali are you? Oh my gosh. I mean, I am planning a trip to LA for by the end of the year, I think.
Yeah, in October I'm doing Tommy T's, Irvine Improv, and San Jose.
Ooh.
But they're just enough outside of the riffraff to where you might get actual conservatives or people that just don't try to attack you to show up.
That sounds good. Yeah. I'm learning a lot as more and more people come to shows. Like I'm learning don't give fans rides home. Don't don't hang out for too long.
Are you referring to Michael Gavin Lee specifically?
No. I was at a show. Actually, it was this past Saturday, and it was somebody who I had worked with. He was a publicist for another someone who had been on my podcast. So in the world, right? Somebody who's in this sort of podcasting world, knows all the same people, would know Crowder, would know Ben Shapiro. You're like, oh, okay. He was like, oh, can I have a ride home? And I gave him a ride home, and Frank was like, don't ever do that again. You could be killed. And I was like, yeah, you have a good point.
He's right. I gotta go with Frank on that one. It is don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was bad.
Picking up a hitchhiker.
It is that just because someone seems, I guess my judgment is questionable. Free speech. Chrissy, boxers or tighty whiteys? I like the ones that are tighty longies. I like the ones that are skin tight boxers. I'm explaining it poorly. Shorts that are tight that suck into your dick and balls. It's underpants material, but it's longer. Mm-hmm. Boxer briefs. Gotcha.
Boxer briefs.
I could have said that.
For. Boxer. I think the way you described it was good.
They're sucked in.
I don't know any guy who wears whitey tighties though. Pretty much after puberty. Well, there's really just no good time.
My brother would wear them. Growing up, I would see him running around the house in them.
Yeah, and they were stained, right?
They were stained. My dad used to wear tighty whiteys, but they were loosey brownies. They were never tight, nor were they white.
Yeah, somebody just spilled gravy on them or something. Yes. It's just a mix of bodily fluids.
I'm like, go ahead and splurge on a new pair of underpants, Dad.
Yeah, there's no reason. White does not belong anywhere near a man's asshole. It can pick up all kinds of color. You don't want to deal with it.
I mean, same thing for women too. I mean, things can happen,
No, that's true. You don't want to. What a spotted pair, if you will.
You don't need to paint with all the colors of the wind.
No, you don't. A guy's not going to care as much. Because men are gross. I mean, if there's a line in the front, you're just going to be all right, it's fine. But I'm sure if you see a man take off his underwear and there's just a zebra stripe rocking down the back of it,
you're going to be like, gross. That's an endangered species that I'm going to...
I don't care for this.
Yeah.
I'd like you to leave.
Please leave. Cool. Dave, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you everybody for the comments and the super chats. What are you working on? What are your hopes and dreams for the rest of the year? What are you excited about? Where can people see you?
Louder with Crowder, Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern, on YouTube and The Blaze. You can also subscribe to Mug Club. We have a discount for students and military. Also, I know I've been promoting my book for a while, but I'm really anal about it, and I think I finally have it very close to being done, so that will hopefully be out very soon. You're writing
a book?
I am.
I can't wait to buy it.
Yes, it was. I can give you a copy. You don't have to buy it. Okay. But it's a group of short stories from my youth, and it's a lot to put out on paper and decide what you want to tell the public. And I pretty much just went with everything.
Ooh.
So and then I just finished another movie script, which I'm hoping to shoot this winter. A few things that are on the table. But as far as that, go to davelandau.com for tour dates. And that's about it.
Dave is a busy boy.
Trying.
Love it. So proud of you. So
Thank
happy you came on the show. Big fan.
I appreciate you having me.
We'll have to do this again sometime. Dave, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.